It's been almost 4 months since this game has been out, and it doesn't seem like things have gotten any better since it was released back in early February. And reason I say that is because obviously the player count keeps dropping and it doesn't seem like any of the new skins or updates or anything that was added by Rocksteady Studios has necessarily helped anything. And I feel like it's a game that they've been trying to salvage for quite some time because honestly, you look at everything that happened, the story was interesting, but then what happened between the start of the game and the end was just like, what the actual hell? And and yeah, we all knew the Justice League was eventually going to get killed off, but the way they got killed off was kind of it was something that bothered a lot of people in some ways because I mean, you look at Batman. I mean, like he got done dirty in this game, and a lot of people were really, really upset about it because Batman has been a icon in comic books since like the 40s. He was one of the most popular like superheroes of the 90s, of like the late 2000s, even the early teens. And honestly, like Batman for the most part. Um, he was pretty much a character that a lot of people had high hopes for in relation to possibly getting another game in the future because a lot of people have been waiting for a sequel to the last Batman Arkham game, which came out back in 2015, and and I don't think it's going to happen because what we saw here, if Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is indeed canon, a lot of people are hoping it's not canon, but it probably is. And if it is canon, then that sucks. And even if it's not canon, it's like the damage has already been done. After this, you can't really look at Batman the same way ever again. And and when you really think about it, it was pretty much like Brainiac and the Justice League, not the Justice League, but Brainiac and the Suicide Squad that took down the Justice League for the most part. And it's funny how Brainiac was able to control like every member of the Justice League except Wonder Woman. And I do feel that it was rather interesting that like Brainiac was unable to control Wonder Woman, but at the same time, um, she was strong enough to go head to head with Superman. And then even though she like eventually like died or whatever, it's like it took all four members of the Suicide Squad to defeat one Justice League member. And even though the gameplay was kind of fun, it just made the Suicide Squad look really weak, because it's like, oh, it takes four people to, I guess, stop, one, superhero. So I think this was done in a way to make the Justice League look strong, but at the same time made the Suicide Squad look kind of weak. And and I don't know, there was definitely some funny moments. Some people thought the comedy in the game was kind of bad, but at the same time, there was some unintentional funny moments within the game, like learning that Flash's real name was Barry. That was kind of hilarious, and how Boomerang just made a joke about that. It was funny how Wonder Woman cucked out Flash, and it's like, even if Flash is evil, he's still a cuck, and he still gets his ass whooped by Wonder Woman. And and it was interesting seeing Green Lantern, just being a smartass and just pretty much just kind of like talking down on the Justice League in a condescending way, but he wasn't as condescending as Superman, And honestly, seeing Superman in this kind of reminded me of Superman in Injustice 1 and 2. And I look at the story for this game. Honestly, like all of this would have been perfect for like a potential Injustice 3 game. And I feel like if um if Rocksteady Studios doesn't do a Injustice 3 game in the future, this is probably the closest thing that we're going to get to an Injustice 3. And I don't think that would have been necessarily any better for the most part. And some people looked at this as, a slap in the face of the Justice League and disrespectful. Others looked at it like, I guess it was supposed to be like the changing of guards or like the passing the torch from one generation to another. But I don't know. It felt like I don't know. It just to a lot of people, it necessarily didn't feel right, and it was something that kind of just like it was a slap in the face to a lot of people, especially like Batman at his strongest when he's like Nightmare Batman. He got taken down by 4X cons or whatever, and it was kind of like, oh well, damn. Not only did Batman lose in his one of his strongest forms, but he pretty much got cucked out by Harley and killed by him. And that's actually pretty sad considering, how popular Batman was like 15 years ago or whatever, with the Dark Knight movie and all that stuff. I mean, those movies are classics. I still watch the Knight movie from 2008 to this day. And and yeah, Batman is just not as popular as he once was. And even if like they did want to make another like Batman like video game in the future, I don't think it's going to be as popular as Arkham Asylum or Arkham City or even Arkham Knight for that matter, because it seems like Marvel is making better games. Marvel seems to be getting more mainstream attention. Marvel's doing a good job appealing to the casuals, even though like they're owned by Disney. And right now, Spider-Man is just as popular, if not more popular than what Batman was like 15 years ago or whatever. So I mean, it's kind of sad, and a lot of people kind of see this as a fall from grace for Batman, and it's like, like obviously, like what we saw in this video game, um, kind of shows you that Warner Brother Games and Rocksteady Studios, they don't plan on doing anything major with Batman or whatever, and at least like not anytime in the future, because I think he's supposed to be killed off, But the thing is, I don't know if they necessarily mentioned whether or not it's canon or non-canon, but either way, it's not a good look. And at this point, I do feel like this video game has done more harm than help to, I guess, the DC franchise for the most part. Because I mean, they lost a lot of money. Because I heard like they lost like $200 million on this game, and I think that was like the quarterly earnings call that took place not too long ago, and like just by like that amount is just massive. And it just goes to show you that a lot of people were frustrated with this game. It let a lot of people down. Some people even put Gotham Knights from 2022 over Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that's really saying something, because that video game, even though like the trailer looked nice and the aesthetics looked okay, it just seemed boring, for the most part. But at the same time, they would they would take that over this heap of crap, any day of the week. So I don't think it's this game in particular is it's probably not the worst, DC game ever made, because there's been some like stinkers out there. And I'm talking about, most of Superman's games. His games sucked, in the past, especially Superman 64. That game was just a broken, awful mess. And not only that, I think we're supposed to be getting a new Wonder Woman a video game sometime in the future, because I believe last year we saw like a reveal trailer for it, but at the same time, we never got any details or like official release date for the game itself. I believe the game is supposed to be about the origins of Wonder Woman and all that stuff, but I don't know. After seeing this, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to look at Wonder Woman in the same light. Like between this and the Injustice series, it's going to be hard to look at Wonder Woman in the same light. It's going to be hard to look at Superman in the same light. It's going to be hard to look at Batman in the same light, ever again, because a lot of people feel like Batman is just ruined at this point. Um, Superman. I mean, Superman has a movie that's supposed to be coming out next year, Superman Legacy, which is supposed to be hitting the theaters, I think, sometime around the summer of 2025. Hopefully, that's something that doesn't change. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what direction DC is going in right now, and especially in relation to video games. I still feel like DC definitely has a big appeal on the big screen on theaters as far as like television and other media is concerned. But it seems like, DC video games has not been connecting with people, hasn't been connecting with casuals. And for the most part, DC caters to adults more so than Marvel. And the thing is, like, you can't do things like this, like what they did with Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and expect adults to eat it up or to buy it or to just accept it as it is. You know what I mean? And it makes me wonder, what's going to happen from here. Are people still going to be interested in DC after this? Is Marvel going to continue getting more popular? Because right now, it doesn't even seem like Marvel is like competing with DC that much anymore. And honestly, I feel like this game is one that let a lot of people down. But then again, I don't know. I mean, the Suicide Squad, for the most part, I feel like has been, forced on a lot of people since 2016 when the movie came out. Because a lot of people didn't like the movie from 2016, and even though it wasn't necessarily as bad as a lot of people said it was, it still wasn't good either. And I don't hear like hardly anyone talking about the one that came out a couple of years ago. I think it was back in 2021. I hardly hear anyone talk about that. So I feel like, the Suicide Squad in general is being forced on a lot of people. And the thing is, it's sad because like it seemed like more people really don't care. And at the same time, Harley Quinn's popularity a couple of years ago was actually like, you know, like she was probably one of the hottest like anti-heroines out there. And and it seems like overexposure has kind of like hurt her mystique and it's kind of hurt her popularity. And obviously it's as clear as day that we're probably not going to get a Harley Quinn game anytime in the near future because it seems like they're hell bent on just putting her in video games if she's affiliated with the rest of the Suicide Squad. And I don't know, like I think it's going to take a while for the Suicide Squad to really get popular and to get the kind of star power that the Justice League had. But the thing is, the Justice League have been popular for many decades, and it's going to be really hard to, make like each member of that group as popular as a character like a Batman or a Superman or a Wonder Woman or Flash or Green Lantern. It's going to be really hard to kind of take them to that level because the Justice League were actual heroes, while the Suicide Squad are, they're anti-heroes for the most part. And I guess that's kind of like the whole appeal and allure with this game is the fact that they're anti-heroes, they're relatable, and I guess what you see is what you get with them. So yeah, I mean, the Suicide Squad game could have been like far better than what it was. The question is, where do they go from here? And is there going to be any more Suicide Squad games anytime in the future?